Hi everyone, I'm Shannon. Thank you for watching and welcome to my best and worst series of best and worst rooms at Walt Disney World. And if you've seen, I did the whole DVC resort and I finished that I think in November of 2020, and I've gotten so many requests to do the hotel side. I had to do some research because we really haven't stayed on the hotel side that often since we became DVC members, but here we go. I'm starting today with Pop Century. Now Pop Century was built in December of, or was completed and opened in December of 2003, and it was the, I guess, fourth value resort. And to me, of those four value resorts, excluding Art of Animation, I think it's absolutely the best. Not only is it a standalone resort, so you're not gonna have to share a bus with any other resort, but you've got a fantastic food court, and then of course the addition of the Skyliner. My family and I stayed there in October of 2019, right after the Skyliner reopened. Actually, when it reopened for the second time after the little incident. We stayed there and we absolutely love the Skyliner. It's a game changer. So if you have a choice, and even if you have an All-Star and a choice between the All-Stars and the Pop Century, and Pop Century's maybe just a little bit more, definitely go for Pop Century. The Skyliner will be worth it. I'm terrified of heights and I love the Skyliner. So there you go. Pop Century has four categories, and it's basically based on location and then a little bit on view. So there's standard pool view, preferred, and preferred pool view. So I'm going to go over all those locations and those areas next in the screen recordings. As if you've seen any of my other videos, I'll go through it. As always, I'm using touring plans. I will post links below. This room request feature is a touring plans exclusive for subscribers. So the subscription, I believe, for Walt Disney World is $15.95 at this moment. And then renewals, I think I pay $11 or $12 to renew every year. I've been a member now, I think, for 4 or 5 years. As long as we've been going to Walt Disney World, we've been, I've had the subscription. It's worth every penny. To me, the room request service is worth the price of the subscription alone. The Lines app I also use as well, but I would pay the $16 just to have this room request service. So let's get into where are the best and worst rooms at Pop Century.
So as always, we're going to start at touringplans.com's page for Pop Century Resort. And here you can find all the information you need to learn about Pop Century. Here's a Pop Century Resort overview, gives you a map. We'll go over the map in a second, and just gives you some pictures. It also has some great pictures of the new rooms. They were remodeled not too long ago, and they're really, really well done. And you can look at those pictures there. This is the layout. The rooms are small. They're only 260 square feet. However, because of the new design and the layout, they're really organized very, very well. We had a 3-night stay there, and we were much more comfortable at Pop Century than we were at a studio at Bay Lake Tower, just because the space is just utilized so much better. So here are the bathrooms. They're tiny, but they, they accommodate you. So, and if you're staying at a value, you're probably trying to save, and you're probably on a budget. So there's all the information about pools and playgrounds, and we'll go over that now. So here is the map of Pop Century, and as you can see, there are 10 buildings, and I'm going to go over, there's 4 categories: standard pool view, preferred, and preferred pool view, and I'm going to go over those in a second, but I just wanted to go over a little bit about the area. As you can see, there's ample parking, so if you do have a car, that might affect of where you might request your room. So Classic Hall is where the food court is. It's on this side. Check-in is right over on this side. And then you have 3 pools. This is the main pool. I believe it's the Hippy Dippy pool. And there's only one splash pad, and that would be right here between buildings 4 and 5, which is typically a preferred area. So that's the main pool. Then there's the bowling pool that is over here in the 50s area between 1, 2, and 3. And then there's no pool by the 70s, but there is a pool by the 80s, and I believe that's the computer pool. So there's a pool there. So there's 3 pools, and there's only 1 playground. So it's not on this map, but this little white spot right here is the only playground. So if you do have, let's say, a toddler who you think is going to utilize the playground, then you might want to consider requesting a room on this side. So we're going to start with the standard view. And if you see here, there's 3 in each category, but the one you want to select is 1 queen and 1 queen size table bed. That's going to be the average room. A king bed or king bed plus 1 double tends to be a handicapped accessible. You can try for those, but my recommendation is to not. I would say stick with the 1 queen and 1 queen size table bed. So we're going to click that. Show matching rooms. And as you can see, there is a standard in every single building. So if you see this bridge to Art of Animation, that is obviously the bridge to Art of Animation, but also that is the Skyliner. So ideally, you want to be close to the Skyliner, especially if you're going to be going to Hollywood Studios or to Epcot. That's where you want to be. Now, if you're going to be, let's say we're going to be in Building 4. The rooms are on the side of the lake. So if you kind of just go back, we're going to see the rooms are in this area right here. Those are the standard rooms. The same thing for Building 5. They're going to be on that side. So that's where you want to be. And you can see you can have, let's look at the view right here. And this is obviously, there's the lake. And this is obviously before the Skyliner, but that's going to give you great location, great proximity to the Skyliner, as well as to the kiddie pool and the main pool over here. So let's just look at the other buildings. Let's look at Building 1. Again, it's just the side. Obviously, there is a pool right here, so that is going to be pool view rooms. And we're going to go back. Let's look at Building 2. Again, most of Building 2 is standard regular. We actually had this room right here at one point. That's where we stayed. It is actually a decent location. It wasn't too far from the Skyliner. It wasn't too far from parking, and it was pretty much middle of the road. It was a pretty good standard room. Let's go back to number 3. Again, 3. The side of the lake is going to be standard. This side right here will be the pool. And the same is going to apply to all of these. All of this Building 8 is all standard. So where should you request? Well, where I would request would be Buildings 4 or 5, and then request to be on one of these rooms. I would say I would pick this room because it would be closest to the Skyliner, and you obviously have that nice view of the lake. That is where I would recommend to stay if you're in a standard view, but just know that there's not that many. And then when you go to make your request, just put any building, any room in Building 4 or 5, that's standard view. You just want to make sure you're clicking standard view if that's what you've booked, if you're requesting 4 or 5. Now, if you have a toddler that really likes a playground, or you think you're going to use a playground, or you're going to be taking your car a lot, let's say you don't want to take the Skyliner, or you want to take the bus, a great building would be Building 9 or Building 10. Personally, I would probably request Building 10. And let's see right here. Whoops, that's a lot of trees, but still not bad. But it's just very, very convenient. Actually, this right here would be the playground right over here. And I believe this would be the parking lot or the trees, but still not bad. It's not like you have a balcony, but Building 10 is really great because it's very close to the playground. And then you have Building 9 right here, and that's going to be very close to the parking lot right over here. And there you go. Very, very close to the parking lot. So recommendations, I think it just depends on whether you plan on taking the Skyliner a lot, or you plan on taking the bus, or if you plan on utilizing the playground a lot. If you don't really care to be near a pool, Building 10, I think, is a great central location. You could probably be on this side over here, but you'd be pretty close to the pool on this side. Decent walk to the Skyliner, decent walk to Classic Hall. I think that's a good location. I probably would recommend staying in buildings requesting buildings 4 or 5 with a lake view. That would give you great proximity to the Skyliner, great access to the splash pad and pool right here, and very close access to Classic Hall and the lobby and the food court. So now we're going to go over to standard view, pool view, and again, one queen size table bed. Now, of the 4 categories, to me, this is the least desirable. You're going to pay a little bit more money than a standard view, and you're really only getting a view of the pool. And remember, you don't have a balcony. It's just basically you're going to have to open your blind. So if you really want to be close to one of the outside pools, because it's not going to be in the middle pool, it's going to be one of these outside pools, then maybe it's worth it. It's usually about $5 or $10 extra a night. But for me, if I was going to go with standard, I would probably just go standard view. If I wanted a pool view, then I would go for preferred. But again, that is just me. So there's 5 buildings that have this standard pool view. And there's 2 options. You have 7 and 9 by the computer pool in the 90s, 80s, 90s area, or the 50s area in buildings 1, 2, and 3. So first, let's look at building 9. In building 9, you're going to have obviously right next to this pool, you have close to the 90s parking. So you're going to be very close. You would just literally have to walk around. And then you have the playground right here and a pretty decent access to the bus, which is on this side of Classic Hall, and not a too bad walk to Classic Hall lobby and food court. Obviously, you are going to have a decent walk to the Skyliner, but again, it's not horrible. So let's look at that view right here, and we'll look at the first floor, and really nice view. You're really quick access to the pool. And especially if you're going to spend a lot of time at the pool and you don't mind not being at the main pool, then, building 9 might be where you want to go. Now, if you want to be closer to Classic Hall or closer to the Skyliner, I would recommend buildings 1 or 3. So if you look at building 3 here, right on this side is just going to give you a little bit closer. It's not really a pool view because the pool view, I guess, is probably over on this side. But there we go. There's the bowling pin pool. And what you'll see is there is the lake. So if you were on this side, you would basically just walk around the building, walk on this walkway to get to the Skyliner, and you would have that view. And I'll give you the resort map. So let's see if you're on that. You would be right here, walk out. So it's not too bad of a walk to the Skyliner, definitely closer than 9. And then if you were walking to Classic Hall, you would literally just come out and go straight here. So it's definitely probably more central than the 2 buildings over on this side. It just depends on if you want to be close to parking, then I would say ask for building 9. If you want to be closer to the Skyliner and you don't have a car, then I would say ask for building 1 or 3. Okay, so now we're going to move over to the preferred view. Again, preferred room, 1 queen size table bed is the category you want to select. There you're going to show matching rooms. So here you see mainly 4 and 5 are really where it's preferred. Obviously 6 and 10 are preferred, as well as 1 and 3. But I would suggest the where you want to be is 4 or 5, maybe 10 if you don't mind. Being there, if you could be right here, you'd be pretty central, and that would give you, so if you were on this side right here, you would be right here. Very close access to Classic Hall and pretty close access to the pool and a decent access to the Skyliner. If you were on 6, let's see, 6, again, I don't really think that this is, it's probably a little bit more central, but I don't think it's that great of a location, so I wouldn't recommend number 6. But 4 or 5 is probably, again, I think 4 or 5 are the most central. So where would I recommend is this one right here. You're going to be right on the edge, and now there is. You're going to be right on the edge of the room, and there's the lake. So literally you have right here, you can see the splash pad. And let's see if one of these rooms gives you a good, that's not real. Well, that right there is the splash pad. So there you go. But right out here, that's the lake, which means you would literally walk out and there would be the Skyliner. You have the splash pad right here. The pool would be right here. So you would be getting preferred view and you would actually have somewhat of a pool view without paying the pool view price. So right here, so I would recommend this room right here if you were requesting building 5. Now let's look at building 4. Here we go. And the same thing, here's the lake. So you would request this side. So let's look at the middle right here. And again, you have a little bit of blocked, but again, it's not like you're on a balcony. But right here, I would request the end of the building. Just very, very convenient. And especially if you have a stroller, even though there are elevators, I still think first floors are the best. So 4 or 5, I think, are the best buildings if you are requesting preferred view, because those are the most central. Okay, and now we come to our last category, which is preferred pool view. 1 queen size table bed. There we go, show matching rooms. Now it's showing building 1 here, but I think that if you click on it, it's only showing 1 room. So I think that might be just an error on that part, because mostly, and either way, you're going to want to be in buildings 4 or 5. And here I'm going to show you where I think is the best place. So really, if you're paying for a preferred pool view, you're not going to get a bad room. I mean, I think it just depends on whether you want to be on the first floor or the 3rd floor, 2nd floor. That's really what you probably want to focus on, because you're not going to get a bad room. However, if I were going to request a preferred pool view room, I would look at 5 right here, and you got like right there is the pool. I personally would probably request this middle one right here. Gives you great access to the main pool. Over on this side will be the splash pad, and then obviously you are in very close proximity to the Skyliner. You would literally just come outside your room, go out here, and then you'd be able to walk to the Skyliner. And if you wanted to walk to Classic Hall, you just walk the other direction. Let's go back, and we'll go back and look at building 4. So basically requesting a room right here, really close access to the splash pad and the pool, close access to Classic Hall, and close access to the Skyliner. Same thing with building 4 right here. Again, I would request this middle room, and there you go. There you got the pool. There's the building. So if you look where I was looking, that room would be right here. Now, if you want something quiet, you probably don't want a pool view, because it could be very, loud with kids splashing. So if you want something quiet, don't get a pool view room. But either way, I think that's a great, very, very central location. Again, you're going to be able to, right here, that room was right here, walk to Skyliner, walk to Classic Hall. Very, very convenient all around. So now we're back on my dashboard, and you can see my sample trip for Pop Century. We're going to click on here. It's going to bring us to the map. And let's say we are booked in a standard view room. I am going to request that building 5, the room in building 5 right here. And I'm going to request this one right on the end. There it is, the one that's the view of the lake. And it's going to say, click here to make a request for this room during your upcoming trip. Click here. Wait for it to come up. Now it says requesting room 5113. But you're not done. You got to go to configure room request, click on it. And obviously it's already populated for me. Do not touch this. This is the part where you do not want to touch. This is put there for a reason. I don't know why. I'm sure room assigners, this means a lot to room assigners, but it means nothing to me. Don't touch that. But anything else specific you want to put in here. So I'm going to put first, number 1, I want a first floor room. There we go. Whoops, I can't spell. And then number 2, buildings 4 or 5. There's it. I don't want to put too much, but now they know my preference. My preference is I want a first floor room, and then buildings 4 or 5, save. And now it will be faxed to Disney and the room assigners. And that's it. That's all you need to do to configure your room request.
So as you can see at Pop Century, it's really not, there's no unicorn rooms like maybe you saw on DVC where there's odd shaped rooms. It's really about location and what suits your family. Do you want to be close to the Skyliner? Do you want to be close to the lobby? Do you want to be close to the parking lot? Do you want to be close to a pool? Where do you want to be? And then also remember that when you're requesting your room, to always request a room that's in the same category as where you booked. Don't request a preferred pool view if you booked a standard room, because a lot of the times these resorts, especially Pop Century, are full to capacity. So they're not going to be able to accommodate you, and then they're not going to know what room you're really looking